We are not live. Now we are.
Okay.
Hello, everybody. Hey, everybody. It's Catherine Watson, and I'm going live for the second time this morning. This is a Monday, even though it's really Wednesday. I'm here today, and I'm really excited. We've got a great program for you. The Life After 50 show brings you all kinds of guests to help you on the second half of your journey. And today I'm here with somebody who has a business or an organization that is near and dear to my heart. She does caregiver wellness retreats, and that is so important. Most of you, or many of you that know me, know that I was very involved with caring for my mom and my mother-in-law for 7-8 years. And boy, wouldn't I have loved something like this. What I love about Melissa is she's thinking outside the box. She's a gal after my own heart. She is creating something new because right now with COVID, we can't gather, especially caregivers. They can't gather together in big groups like that anymore. But she wanted to still be able to support the caregivers and bring the retreats to them. So she found a way, and I'm going to let her tell you about that. So Melissa, let's try this again. We weren't live before. Accidentally, I forgot to hit the go live button. And but now we are. So please tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'm really honored to be here. And actually, I love that happened because you are so human. And I mean, I can't even imagine how many times all of us have done just something exactly like that. And we just pick ourselves back up and keep going. And so actually, that's an encouragement to me today. So thank you. I am so happy to be able to talk about caregivers because this is very, very close to my heart. My dad was a caregiver to my stepmom for more than 10 years. She had early onset Alzheimer's, and watching how he cared for her, the grace and the care in which he took to really, it was immaculate care of her health. So, and the toll that it took on him throughout those years was really tremendous. While he also was very vigilant in his own care, he would never take an opportunity to do something quite like this and spend, or at least a whole day on himself. Something like that would just never probably would have been something he would have fathomed to do. So I feel really incredibly grateful that we were able to get this rolling. About 6 years ago in Houston, we planted the seed and the idea and was able to get the support of the Houston Southwest chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. And with their sort of support, I felt confident enough to get started on something like this. I have a background in leading international retreats, yoga retreats and wellness retreats for a very long time. And so to be able to use that skill and cultivate something for caregivers that was meaningful and not like something that they had been doing before, I think what makes this really unique, what we have online and what we have in person that's very, very different, is that we focus on the wholeness and the wellness of the caregiver. So it is not about dementia education, because I feel like there's so many organizations, the Alzheimer's Association in Houston. I work here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where I live with the New Mexico Memory Care Alliance. There's so many organizations like that do an excellent job of working with what do I do about shadowing and all of these ins and outs of actually caring for their person with dementia. But we take a look at caring for the caregiver and how valuable it is and how imperative it is that they look at their own self-care And because we have the background knowledge and understand and create this community, we're all carers of someone with a type of memory loss or cognitive dysfunction, that we have a sense of understanding of what they're going through. But again, we really focus on the caregiver, on their total health and their well-being. And I think that's something that we cannot talk enough about, because when you do not take care of yourself, as you know, how can you possibly take care of your loved one? It's really, really important
that is so true. That is so true, because you just can't. You cannot be your best you if you're not taking care of you. If you're not your best you, how can you show up for them in the way that they deserve and they need to have you show up for them? That's really, really important. So, Melissa, what do most people not really understand about caregivers?
That's a really great question. I think we're in an incredibly unique time right now, having to shelter in place and having so many restrictions placed on our daily lives. That is exactly what a caregiver goes through in a non-crisis, like worldwide pandemic. They don't have the options to be able to leave their house freely. They don't have all of those opportunities to even simply go outside. If you are caring for a loved one or a person with dementia or Alzheimer's, there is no leaving them alone. You don't know when you're going to go, one day to the next, you don't know when they're going to go into the next stage. And leaving them unattended is not an option.
It's
And
not.
then it becomes an option of, when can you no longer take them with you to do little things or get them out on outings? There'll be a point where that won't be an option either, because it will be so disorienting for them. And so you're tethered to this experience, and you're tethered to your home, essentially, unless you have a web and a network of support, such as drop-in daycare, such as full-time care facility, such as the ability to bring someone into your home. So what is really interesting about this time right now is that what we are all experiencing on a worldwide basis, I think it's helping us develop a little bit of empathy, I hope, toward what caregivers are having to go through on a daily basis.
That's a really good point.
How do I go out and get my groceries when I'm caring for a loved one? How do I even, and these are all things that we have this concern about now, just going out, how does that, and even now, how does that expose us? And then we come back home, there's a fear of exposing our loved ones. So caregivers have had to use really unique resources and have people bring things to them. And so now is really an opportunity for us to not wait for a caregiver to ask us what we can do to help, for us to not say, what can I do to help? Instead, be really specific. I'd like to go get your groceries this week. Tell me what you need. I'd like to social distance with you and visit for a little while. Tell me when we can do that. Let's plan that right now. So the more specific you are and the more direct you are, and then you can say, if they continue to say no, which caregivers will, they're going to say, no, I got it. If I could say to caregivers, stop saying no, say yes. When someone offers, and if they give you an offer that's not right, that isn't quite the right fit or what you need, say, thank you so much. This is actually what I need. Would you be willing to do that? And they may not have even thought of that. And I think that is so important right now. If we cannot forget the value of a phone call, the value of whatever it is that we can offer, but that's specific and direct, will be so tremendous at this time.
I think that's a great idea, Melissa. And I think it's important for caregivers to understand too, that when you allow somebody to help you, you're helping them as well. because a lot of times, especially family members, they have a need to help. They want to help, but they don't know how.
Yeah.
And they want to be able to help you, and you keep saying no, and they feel shut out sometimes. So it's important to learn to say yes and allow people into your life and into your space. And I know sometimes that's hard. It's really hard to do because we think we've got these visions and these beliefs that we're supposed to somehow know everything that we're supposed to do. We're supposed to already have the book on how to do this, and if we're a good daughter or we're a good son, we would be able to do it ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's just not the truth. That's just a story we've been telling ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. We
need to knock those stories out. So tell us about what you have. You have this online, on demand. That means they can access it whenever, right?
Yeah.
Caregiver Wellness Retreat. And I have started on it. I haven't gone through the whole retreat, but I did start it, and it is amazing. So tell us about it.
Yeah. We were able to do, so we have 4 retreats a year that are in person. And in January, we were able to do our Houston retreat, which is fantastic. It's just an hour outside of Houston, in Fulshear, Texas, so just past Katy. And we were able to take in just a certain number of caregivers. And typically we have 2-to-1 care. So we usually have either one-on-one, one volunteer for every caregiver, or 1 volunteer for every 2 caregivers. We have a lot of volunteer help, and it's pretty amazing. It's something that is so special and near and dear to my heart. It's the retreat that we've run the longest in person, and I'm so thankful we were able to do that. As time progressed and all of this unfolded, we realized we would not be able to do our retreat. We had Calgary, that we would not be able to do it, and I really have had this vision of starting on online, and here we go. Dove in 100%. I'm so proud of the material that we put together. I thought about the best of all of our retreats and pulled together different speakers, some from Houston. We have a few from Calgary. We also have a new one, which is the Laughter on Call with Danny. She's in LA. We have a couple of speakers from Santa Fe, which is the Santa Fe Botanical Gardens, and another speaker. So I'm very, very proud of the facilitators and the material that we're able to put together. And it's with this vision of overall wellness. So you'll find anything from movement to meditation and a different style of meditation, to laughter, to being outside in nature with the botanical gardens. So there's quite a variety of techniques. And in essence, that's really what this is about. We got some things. We were able to have music therapy this last year at our Houston retreat. And so we added music therapy online as well. And I got some feedback with one of the caregivers saying that it was actually her favorite session.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. So I think what is, in essence, what I really enjoy about how we've packaged it together is that maybe meditation, you'll give it a try, but maybe it isn't quite your thing. That's okay. Maybe there's another session that will speak to you and give you a resource. So my hope is that over the 10 days, it's 10 minutes over a 10-day period that they're dripped or emailed to you. And then you can just keep the link indefinitely. So you could go back and re-listen or rewatch a particular session at any time. And that you have this tool at access to you. And, you know, it's really whenever it's convenient for you. And so if one speaks to you or maybe the other one doesn't, we have another session on nutrition. That's my hope, that something will resonate with you or as a caregiver, that you'll be able to kind of put in your back pocket and think, okay, I learned that if I exhale longer than my inhale, I know that's going to calm my nervous system. Simple.
Just a simple technique. I love it. I love those kind of techniques because you can take them anywhere you are in whatever situation. If you are stuck with mom in the hospital, you can take that kind of technique and use it. And that's huge.
It is huge. And let me say, it's completely free. There's no string.
That was gonna be my next question
I
for
know,
you. What is the cost? I know.
I'm going to sell them on anything. So there's no catch. There's no strings. If you wish to donate something, we're happy to take a donation to offset the cost of us putting this together. And we are a 501c3 registered nonprofit, so you do get a tax receipt. But that's not my aim. My aim is to reach as many caregivers as possible, and there's no barrier to access, would be my hope. So you don't have to download Zoom. You don't have to download anything. You just click on the link to watch it. So it's very simple.
So it is very simple. And it comes in your inbox, your email. We had a few comments here. If you hold on just a minute, let's see what some of the audience members are saying. Leslie says, please share with all family caregivers that you know, Melissa has created amazing live retreats and now a virtual retreat. Yes, she has, Leslie. Thank you for attending the show today. And let's see, we have Morella. Good morning. Pearland Family Health Center is testing seniors for chronic diseases. Great. Thank you for letting us know. And that is it. So we're glad that you are showing up and attending this live show today and finding out more. Let's see what else we have to talk about. Okay. Oh, yes. I wanted to know, what is one thing that you think that would be really helpful that caregivers could use right now? If you had to pick one thing.
Yeah.
Hard. There's a lot of things.
I think if there was one thing that we could communicate that would serve caregivers best, I've really already mentioned it. The easiest and the quickest way to calm your nervous system and to give you the ability to pause is your breathing. If you changed nothing, if you didn't do anything else, it would just be to simply pause and take a longer exhale than your inhale. Your nervous system, the way that works is when you inhale, that's energizing. Most of us tend to breathe in the upper part of our chest most of the day. They're chest breathing. And that can create a state of just being right here, high energy, or even if you're depleted, you tend to pull up here because you need more energy. And it's your body's instinctual way of trying to revive itself. But if we can learn to use the fullness of our breath and our diaphragm, which would just mean that we simply exhale longer than the inhale, then that activates what's called the parasympathetic nervous system. So simply said, when we inhale, that's enlivening. When we exhale, it's calming. So if we can take our breath just calmer by focusing on the exhale. The second thing you can think about when you think about breathing and exhale is just to bring your attention to your feet. So let's say you're in a conversation or you're trying to talk to your loved one and there's not a comprehension happening, or you're getting frustrated about a particular situation. Pause for a moment, exhale, and bring your attention to your feet. Did you do that just now?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Notice how that feels in your body. I could feel, just by saying it, I could feel my shoulders drop.
Yeah.
I could feel myself calm down just a little bit, and my breath move further down into my body. Yeah. It's such a simple technique. There's a lot of breathing research, Dr. Eric Pepper, and so many other studies that talk about simple techniques for respiration and how we can use that to control and bring the stress level down in our bodies. Finding your feet, exhale longer, even just having a view of nature. Like I'm looking behind you and you have a plant. Absolutely. So just having a view of a plant behind you, or if you work at a desk or you're spending time a lot of time indoors, just having a view of nature will
Mhm.
actually bring your cortisol levels down.
Even a picture, even a picture. If you
Even if
don't have the view,
yeah,
maybe you're in an apartment in New York or wherever, and you don't have that view, just a picture sometimes, or a picture of a smiling face, I also read one time, can also make you calm down and feel better.
I think if you can think about your breath as a possibility to change every moment, every exhale is a possibility to change. So you don't have to be caught up in the moment of the situation. There is an opportunity to release that and know that it's going to change. And especially with caregivers with dementia, one thing that we know is certain is that there will be change. There will be change.
Absolutely.
There'll be change in their temperament. There'll be change in ours. There'll be change in every single minute will not be like the last. It will change. And for me, just understanding that gives a great sense of hope and a great
Yeah.
sense of encouragement. And so I hope that would be my encouragement to caregivers this morning. Nothing stays the same. It will just be constantly changing, and to not grasp onto that idea that, oh, this is a good day, I want it to stay like that. Well, tomorrow will be different, and then the
Right.
next day will be different.
Yeah.
So learning to move with those changes, and allow that and accept that, it will
Mhm.
make your life so much easier.
It really will, because also what I think people don't realize is we pick up on the energy of those around us.
Right.
So if I'm all frazzled and I'm like this and I'm all upset, everybody around me is going to feel that. You've had somebody walk past you that the hair on the back of your neck kind of stood up. You just kind of, and they were angry or they were upset. We pick up on that. Well, the people we care for pick up on it too. And
Yeah.
they may not be able to express, they may not be able to ask you, hey, Melissa, hey, Catherine, what's going on today? Why you seem a little off? They may not be able to comprehend that. They just know that you're angry or you're frustrated or you're upset. They feel your energy. And so it's the more you can calm down and have a calm presence around them, the easier it's going to be for them and you as well.
Yeah. Not easy, but just those little few simple techniques to help you feel more grounded in the situation is so helpful.
So, well, you already shared that tool for wellness with us. What other tool? Is there another one that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, there's a lot, but I'll narrow it down. So I would say breathing is number one.
Mhm.
Number two, as much as you can to sneak in opportunities for some movement. So
Mhm.
whether that's just if you're seated all day long, or um, whatever you can do to get up, and even allowing every 20 minutes or so, if you're engrossed on something or you have to do some computer work, get up and move. If you can, as much as you can, also your person with dementia, whether it's even if it's just a little bit of movement or just right where you are, right around the house.
Mhm.
Movement is also like hitting the reset button for our nervous system. So being able to move, whether that might even just be shrugging the shoulders, noticing where you start to feel an ache and pain, and instead of pretending it's not there,
Mhm.
do a little movement, just anything that allows for just that slight subtle reset of it. And whether it could be a movement, it could also be a manual thing. So whether it's just a gentle touch to yourself, because right now we're
Mhm.
not even able to have touch with other people. If you can just allow for a little bit of touch, self-touch, that's
Mhm.
also very soothing and calming for the nervous system. I would say two more things will be um, a key tool to use is remembering that you don't have to believe your negative thoughts. That I think you said earlier, something about the stories that we tell ourselves.
Mhm.
They're not always true. And so if we can kind of remember that we can get out of those thought patterns and hit a reset button and utilize those tools of either movement or breath. Listen to something positive that's going to encourage you, whether that is music or your favorite podcast or something that's going to flip the switch for you and reset that thought pattern. It's really, really important. The last thing I'll suggest perhaps is not an overhaul in your nutrition, but just to start to remember and to think about how what we eat, we will become. And so remembering that, for example, if we know that that we tend to use food as a self-soothing tool instead of movement or breath, just to notice that. And the more times we recognize that we turn to that, then we have an opportunity to make a different choice. So just even the awareness that it's there gives us the potential for change. And it doesn't mean you have to change it all in a day or a week or a month, because habits are very difficult to unravel.
And Melissa, I think that awareness is the key. I think that is the number one key to everything. When you become aware of your behaviors and what you're doing and what you're experiencing, then you can start, like you said, making those subtle shifts. And no judgment. If you don't do it all, I mean, you don't have to do it all in a day. You don't have to totally revamp your whole life. You don't have to totally revamp your dietary, what you're eating all day long. But making those slight little changes can make a huge difference in how you feel and how the person that you're caring for feels. It's huge. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
we have a wonderful Simply Seasonal. So one of the things that we do in our live and in-person retreats is we are very careful on our menu. So we don't offer processed or packaged or even desserts with sugar. Everything is so thought out and simple. One of the biggest requests we usually get after a retreat actually is recipes.
Yes.
The food was so good. So we have partnered with Simply Seasonal, and they're in Houston and just came out with their first cookbook. And they are phenomenal. They have free cooking show on YouTube. You can click on it and just get little tips. So they're part of our OnDemand Caregiver Wellness Retreat. And what I appreciate about that is that it's not, again, about making radical changes, but it's just becoming aware. Oh, why was I really agitated today? Well, I had about 5 cups of coffee. Okay. All right. So just subtle attention and awareness to where your energy is going and how you're trying to self-soothe your body, because really we are. Our body is constantly trying to do that. And we can choose positive behaviors or we can choose some negative behaviors. And it's really up to us to choose, right?
Exactly. I had Tanya Moon. She's a health coach here in Houston in the Katy area, on the show the other day. And she was, talking about everybody with the lockdown and the social distancing. We got into eating things that we normally, I even found myself, and I normally eat a pretty clean diet, but I was eating things that I never eat, macaroni and cheese and, stuff, just comfort type foods. And I think, like you were saying before, this whole COVID-19 thing is very similar to what a caregiver goes through especially when they first enter the caregiving role, and they can get stuck in those behaviors. If they don't have some help and some resources. So I applaud you for bringing those resources out there for our caregivers to be able to access. And I love that your program has just a holistic approach. I can't wait to go through all of the 10 modules and see all of the different things. And let me tell everybody one thing too. They're short. They're what, like 10 minutes?
Yeah. They're short.
They're short. So they're bite size. You can do it. You can find 10 minutes. You can go to the bathroom if you have to and sit on the toilet and watch it. If that's the only place where you can get peace and quiet, then that's what you do. But, you can do it. You can find 10 minutes. Somehow, some way you can find that 10 minutes. If you get up a little bit earlier before the person you care for is getting up, or you go to bed a little bit later, that 10 minutes, oh gosh, it'll make a huge, huge difference in your life. Huge difference. We've got a couple of more people that have come on, and Shelby says, thank you so much. Very good information. Shelby, if you haven't signed up, you need to sign up for this retreat. It's really awesome. And I'm going to be putting the link up in just a minute, everybody. So hang in there. Birgit, I hope I'm saying it correctly. She says, Melissa, thumbs up. Yes, she's awesome, isn't she? I agree. And Lotus Hospice says, good morning. So we're glad to have you here, Lotus Hospice. And just so glad to have Melissa here with us. I want to now, let me see. Hold on. Let me pull up her website. Okay, so this is where you go to access this amazing retreat that you'll get for 10 days in your email. Like she said, you don't have to download anything. You don't have to show up at a certain time. If you need to watch this at 3 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep, then you get to watch it at 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever works for you. I'm going to spell out this web address because this will also go on our podcast, Melissa. Okay, so I want to make sure that people on the podcast know what it is. It's Caregiver Wellness Retreat. So that's Caregiver, Caregiver, Wellness, WELLNESS, Retreat, RETREAT.com. And just go to that. I'll also drop it in the show notes so they'll have that. But I wanted to make sure that everybody has that information. There's no reason not to sign up for this. I can't imagine any reason that anybody would not sign up for this. Please, those of you who are watching the show, share this with your friends. Share this with your neighbors. People need to know about this. This is a free resource. Melissa and her team have graciously donated their time to put this together, and they have some amazing information for you. So we are almost out of time. Is there anything else you want to add, Melissa? Anything I could have asked but didn't?
That's a great question. I will say that even if you don't care for a loved one or a person with dementia, that as a caregiver, you would benefit from this as well. Even if what I found is, even if I just shared it on my Facebook page and didn't even know that I knew some caregivers, people passed it on and shared it on. My hope and my vision is that we can get this out as broadly as possible, because we have some extraordinary facilitators who have donated their time and offering for this, and it is truly special. And I will say one last thing to encourage caregivers. Always know that no matter what today is like, tomorrow will be different, and there's opportunities for change, and that it doesn't have to be complicated. Really, it's about reconnecting with who you were, perhaps before you had the label caregiver. And if you can remember who that person was, that you really enjoyed music, or perhaps you really enjoyed crocheting, or you really enjoyed reading books, that there are opportunities to still enjoy that part of you right now. You do not have to deny that just because your situation or your roles have changed. Even if it's a few minutes here and there, there's still an opportunity to recognize that person inside of you that wants to experience that kind of joy again. It's possible.
It is. So I thank you so much for coming on today. I really do. This has been great. Melissa is also going to be at the senior conference, and we are getting ready to have our online senior conference for dementia, June 26th and 27th. I'll drop that link into the notes below in the comments so people will have that information as well. She is going to be a part of that, and she's going to be presenting at the conference. So we're really excited to have her there. And that information will be coming out today, so you'll be able to sign up for the conference. So pay attention to the Find Houston Senior Care page on Facebook so that you can get all of that information. And again, Melissa, thank you so much for being on the show today. We really, really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right.